Now this is the question with TRVL, and it's a real question. It's a real big question for me and probably for a lot of people. Will this support level hold? And clearly there's a little bit of support here. You can see that on the daily time frame we've kind of tapped this level for a showing us that there's some support here, isn't there? What it means is that people are selling and then people are buying, and it's just this area is holding the support, and it kind of corresponds to previous areas. Well, in the past we went through, so it's not an exact line at the moment. It's showing us to be an exact on the dot 5.5 cents line. Okay, at the moment it's holding a support. I think the reality is that if BTC goes down, we go down. There's no stopping anything from falling if BTC goes down. And while I don't necessarily think BTC is going to go down, okay, I really don't think that. I think BTC is showing incredible bullishness. There's a lot of bullish divergences and a lot of bullish absorption. A lot of orders are trying to accumulate as much BTC right now as possible, because we've just broken the all-time highs and we're into price discovery, and Trump has only just got elected. I don't think that you can never rule out a flash dump, yeah, and that will have an impact on all the altcoins. Now, in the past, TRVL has actually been quite resilient when it comes to BTC pullbacks, yeah. So if I kind of compare TRVL with BTC price action, sometimes when BTC pulled back, we really didn't go down. You know, we kind of, sometimes we went down a little bit, like here. This is side by side. You can see here we went down with BTC, but at other times we went down, and then here you see BTC went down and we didn't go down, we went sideways. So here we kind of went sideways, BTC went down, yeah. So it is possible for us to not go down. You see here, BTC kind of goes down a little bit. We do go down a little bit, but the reality is we actually went up first. So we kind of, in context, we go sideways. So it is possible that TRVL doesn't go down if BTC pulls back a little bit. And no one really knows how and what TRVL is going to do and when BTC does something. At the moment, when I'm looking at the charts, looking at this price action, comparing BTC to TRVL, yeah, they're kind of in step with each other, aren't they? They look very familiar. Don't they look very similar? No. Let me just kind of compare the volume together. Let's have a look and see what the volume is looking like. Yeah, they look very similar, don't they? Except that obviously TRVL put most of its volume at the low here. When you look at the shape of the movement, kind of up to there, we went up. So then the BTC went up to there. Then we kind of pumped. We pumped. What did BTC do there? It kind of went up a little bit there. That was our pullback. BTC pullback. Then BTC kind of went up a little bit. We went up. So we're actually, in that context, more bullish. BTC went down. We kind of went sideways. Then BTC was kind of rolling up. We were rolling up with BTC. Like that. Just kind of went like that. And then and so here we over pumped, and then we kind of had a little correction, and the BT's correction is like this. So they are looking very similar, the maneuvers, the movement between BTC and TRVL, aren't they? The only difference is that from the absolute low here to the current price, we're up 186%, and BTC is up 71%. isn't it? 71%. So at the moment we're kind of like potentially a 2.5x up on BTC. And if you can imagine BTC kind of continuing, then we potentially could continue. Yeah, so just based on this kind of range, let's just say I don't know, I mean, no one really knows how far BTC is going to get. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I mean, right now I've got BTC coming into a midpoint of a channel, so let me just draw that midpoint. It's kind of like this. I'm doing it very roughly because this isn't the chart that I use. See, coming into a little bit of a midpoint here, trying to flip a midpoint, a clone midpoint, yeah, from the previous channel. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, our next move on BTC is to 110, 111k, like that. Then in this context, BTC will be going up another 21%. And if TRVL is doing 2.5x of that, or even 2x of that, then that would be another 50% up. 50%. Or 60%. Taking us to 9 cents, huh? Taking us to 9 cents. So if BTC goes up to 110, then we're potentially going up to like 9 cents, 10 cents, and then again we're into resistance. So there is a little bit of a correlation between these two, but ultimately, like, if we want to go to parabolic numbers, we'll have to decouple from BTC, because the reality is that eventually BTC will kind of top out, won't it? You know, BTC, I mean, unless you could imagine BTC really going mega crazy, you know. And I think if we're just coupled to BTC, then you'd be thinking, actually, even if BTC got to stupid percent here, let's just say, for the sake of argument, it got up to 200%, then we're only up, let's say, 450% in that context. If it's 2.5x, which should only take us to 30 cents. And actually, I don't think that's realistic, because what will happen if BTC does something a bit mental like this, or something mental anyway, then what actually ends up happening is that altcoins like TRVL decouple from BTC's price action, and then they kind of line up with ETH's price action, yeah, and then ETH starts pumping, and then based on ETH's expansive move, then altcoins will have some kind of relative expansive factor compared to ETH, and then kind of everything decouples from BTC for a short period of time. That's alt season, is where everything decouples from BTC and goes parabolic, regardless of what BTC is doing. And actually, what happens, what you'll notice, is BTC will actually pull back, and altcoins will pump. They'll do the opposite for a short period of time. When I say short period of time, no one knows exactly how long that's going to be. Maybe it could be like a few weeks. It could be a bit longer. It could be like 2, 3, 4 weeks. It could be 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. It could be 2 months, yeah? Where BTC will go into some kind of bullish but very corrective mode. You see, right now, the reason why we're not in that situation is because BTC's only just broken out, and so all eyes are on BTC. Eventually, BTC is going to get to such a high enough level, it's going to be above 100,000, and it potentially could be when it hits 110 here, 111, and then it starts correcting all the way down to 100, and you have this kind of correction. You have a big correction here, a kind of a really sideways, but it's not bearish. And then you could see a situation where actually, when every time BTC pulls back, altcoins fly. They do the opposite. Yeah. Then when BTC goes up, altcoins kind of go flat. And then BTC pulls back, and then altcoins fly again. Yeah. And that's because of the correlation between ETH BTC and BTC. And so what happens is that altcoins will then couple with ETH and not with BTC. So at the moment, what you can see is that we've got about a 2.5x on BTC based on what we're seeing right now up to this point in time. They look very similar, the price movements, don't they? That you can see that they look very similar. And what's interesting is here BTC is trying to flip this level into support. There's a kind of a channel midpoint here. There's also a fib level as well, which I've marked out. Potentially we are actually flipping this area into support. It's just taking a little bit of time. And what we need to do here now, TRVL needs to do, is flip this area into support. If for reasons that I can't explain, we lose support, it can always happen. I'm not discounting the possibility of it. See, right now, looking at the CCI, I can see that it's already oversold. You see that? It's already oversold. So this is oversold, and we've got a little bit of a gap away from the support. You see that? So I'm actually seeing a little bit of bullish absorption starting to form here on the price. All right. There's also bearish divergence here too. So I don't want to kind of ignore what the charts are telling me. Higher high, lower high. That's actually bearish too. You know, that's bearish divergence. And now we're getting a little bit of an absorption as it comes down. Here you see this. So I've kind of changed the time frame to 30 minutes. And you can see here the MACD is making a lower low, the price is making a higher low. So we're getting bullish absorption at the shorter time frames, and the higher time frame is a little bit of a bearish divergence. But worst case scenario, and I kind of did imagine, and remember I talked about this, I did imagine that maybe the wave was complete here. When it completed, I said it's probably complete, yeah, just because I'm counting waves. And then I said, you know, maybe if we go sideways, the minute it dropped, I said, oh, okay, maybe we're going to match it. We're going to kind of go like that. And in one of my videos, if anyone's following me, that's kind of what I said. So I'm kind of still on that same format. So I'm kind of thinking that as long as this holds, that'll be some kind of ABC correction. It doesn't mean that this can't go down. Yeah, because there could be multiple ABCs. And so no one can predict that. No one really knows. If let's say that's your correction, a WXY, then the next one could be an X, and then you can have a Y like that, couldn't you? You could have a more kind of a correction like that, and then you'll be looking for, then you're possibly looking for, let's just say it was like that, then you could put, you know, you'd be looking for that, and then possibly another whatever, like a different, like another correct, it could do that 100%. So just because it could look like this is over, it may not be over. It depends on Bitcoin, obviously. If Bitcoin starts to go a little bit pumpy, then maybe it is over, and maybe we're going to start going up to 9 cents, and really that will be the next big target. This is, at the moment for me, this is holding support, right? Worst case scenario, I think if we do go down, okay, and I'm not saying we are, I don't think we're going to go down, but I mean, I'm not 100%. I'm never 100%. Then it's kind of going to be like an extended move like this, something like that. It'll be something like this. Yeah. And then usually if it starts going down, TRVL will probably overcorrect and you'll be hitting much lower. And so naturally then it'll be coming into somewhere here. This 1.618 would make perfect sense. That would really require Bitcoin to pull back all the way down to 83, maybe even 78. If Bitcoin did that, then I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this, okay? And I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to do it. I don't think it is, but I'm just saying worst case scenario, that's what you're going to be experiencing. And then your target here would still be bullish. This doesn't make this bearish. It would still be bullish. It would just be something different. You'll be looking for something like the neckline here, 1.618 expansion, and you're trying to find support somewhere around there. Okay, that's also possible. So there's possibilities in play. What might happen is if we don't impulse, then we are looking at some kind of a correction like this, with a higher low, you know, something like that, if we don't impulse, and no one really knows how that's going to play out. At the moment it looks like 5.5 is holding, so that's good news. And then actually what you want to see is now, well, not now, but like shortly in the future, kind of impulsive buying again. But the selling's being absorbed. Let me just pull a volume profile in this range. So at the moment you see there's a little bit of weakness here, but there's also a little bit of volume. So the weakness is that you lose the value area of the volume that's been put in above 5.5. Yeah, that's the weakness, not being able to get in. But you can see that we're trying to get in, and you can see that there's a bit of volume being put here. Still hasn't moved the point of control to the lower part of this range. If it does, then actually this becomes extremely, in this context, really bullish. Or if the price can get back into this value area, I would like the point of control to flip, but obviously I can't make that happen. You'd still kind of have to contend with it as you came up, which is why I said, you know, it is possible, you know, that you do something like that, like a more of this type of ABWXY before we actually are looking to kind of impulse again. So longer corrections are really bullish. Long corrections are bullish. So we're not worried if we hold here for a long period of time. This whole thing becomes extremely bullish. It becomes more bullish. Yeah. So don't think that just going up now is what makes this bullish. Actually, if we just hold here now for a couple of weeks and don't go anywhere, even while the rest of crypto moves, then actually this is really bullish. It becomes really bullish. Yeah, just kind of correcting here, just flat correction here. And then the thing you have to bear in mind is that if we just go up now, we may just go up and just kind of reject again at 9 cents and come all the way back down. It's possible. Yeah. But if we kind of like just sit here for a while and just kind of just do that, then when we go up, it's more likely we just break and go up further. Yeah. It's more likely, the longer we consolidate here, the more likely it is to go up, break, and then continue. Right. And that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see the next wave take us all the way up to the golden pocket, and that would require a bit of strength. Hold on a second. All right, so I don't mind if we just consolidate here for a while. We haven't seen that, so I don't mind seeing something slightly different, you know, and then just kind of going back in time and looking at previous price action now, looking at the weekly. This is important. So you see how this weekly candle has formed. We have a little kind of clean back test, and it looks like it's holding. This weekly candle looks like it's holding this back test of this 236. We may just go up next week, you know, it's possible. And if you look at the volume here, forget all this kind of all of this volume for the time being. Forget all of that, just ignore it, just focus on the last few weeks. You see that we've put in as much as almost as much volume as the green candle, so 22 million there, 24 million last week. So we've put in just as much volume, and look where the price is. We're at the top here. So in my mind, that's bullish, because we've put in just as much volume as the previous week and the price is holding. Yeah, obviously if we had more volume and held the price, it'd be even more bullish. Yeah, so if this red candle was now 100 million and we were still here, then that would be extremely bullish. Yeah, so that the volume gives you a clue as to what's going on, but at the moment it's okay. It's almost as much as the previous week, and so it means a whole bunch of people have taken profit and the price is still kind of holding above 5.5 cents. And so at the moment when I look at this, I'm feeling quite good about this. You see, last time we had a break, it broke way through it. It just ignored it. This time when we broke, we didn't really get a back test here. It just continued. So this is the first time we've actually clean broken this level and had a nice a weekly back test, a proper back test. Huh? We haven't had this kind of scenario where we break and then back test the week after. Every single time it's just followed through, and this time it just went through. And so this is the first time we're having a nice back test. So actually I like that. I like that we're getting a back test as long as it holds, right? The other thing to bear in mind is that because this is a weekly red candle potentially forming now, there's going to be a fresh weekly level here that has to be flipped into support. So at the moment it will, if this candle ends red, then that will be a weekly level and that will act as resistance. And so obviously you're going to get people trade into that. Yeah, if anyone is looking to trade this on the lower time frame, buy and sell small amounts. Oh, actually, look what's just happened. Just as I've been talking now, yeah, just literally as I've been talking now, you see what's happened. The point of control is just shifted to the. You see that? So just in the last 20 minutes, you see it was here. Was it? What have I done wrong? What have I done differently? Why is it showing me differently? For some reason, remember the point of control was much higher, and now it's come to the lows. Maybe it's the time frame that I was using. Yeah, it's the time frame. So you see, I was using a 2-hour time frame. The 2-hour time frame doesn't take into consideration the current candle because it hasn't completed yet. So actually when you go to a lower time frame, you get the last 3 candles, the last 1.5 hours, and actually you can see that the point of control has shifted to the lows. So in my mind that's bullish because we've had the point of control shift to the lows of this range, and also the value area has also shifted down. So now the price is in the value area. So the price didn't actually have to get back into the value area. See that? Whereas here the price needed to get back into the value area. All that's happened is that we've put in enough volume in this range so that the point of control here is shifted to the low of this range, and then the value area has shifted down. So yeah, I think I like that. I like that. I like what I'm seeing. I'm feeling quite bullish on this. Are we going to impulse? No one knows, but the weekly level has to be flipped. That's 50% of this range here. Have to flip that into support, and if we can do that, then maybe we can get out of here. Okay, so that's kind of what I'll be looking for next. If we can, ideally what you'd want is you want the price to go up to the value area high, golden pocket, come back down and hold this weekly level and this 50% mark as support. If you can hold here as support, then actually you're more likely than not continuing, yeah, looking to go back up. And in a minute you take out those highs, guess what happens? Higher high on the daily time frame, and hopefully we'll get more impulsive moves to the upside. That's kind of what you do. You sell the highs, you buy the lows. You sell the highs, you buy the lows. In the context of a bull market, that's what we do. You sell the highs, you buy the lows. And so this, we're trying to form a higher low. That's what's happening now on the daily time frame. This could be the higher low. It's a good place for it to be the higher low on the back test of a higher time frame fib level. So let's see what happens on TRVL, and then if anyone has any ideas or questions, then feel free to kind of post them and throw them at me. In terms of higher time frame resistance, well, obviously you've got that 382, which is at 10.4 cents. I think in this context, if we do back test and hold this 236 as is, then naturally the next target is 10.4 cents. That makes perfect sense, but that doesn't discount these higher time frame levels of untapped liquidity. So you've got untapped liquidity at 8.8, 9 cents and 10.1, yeah, and then going up much further up, 12.1, 12.2. So you have a bunch of untapped liquidity. Hopefully by the time we get up there, people are going to be so FOMO-ish in TRVL that we can get a little bit of volume and just push right through it if we can. That would be ideal. All right, that's TRVL.